Alright, let's check out what's going on with Kyber network, ticker symbol KNC. So, in my last video for KNC, we updated this. When we came into this big black box of resistance, there's a ton of resistances coming into this black box if this is your first time on my channel. We had a double 618 fib in here. We had EMA ribbons from both the 4-hourly time frame and the daily time frame coming into these. And this was just a huge area of resistance that KNC needed to get above if we were going to consider ourselves to be bullish. And we came into the 13 EMA, we came into the EMA ribbons, and we broke down to the bottom of this pattern. We're also going to be talking about KNC BTC, as I believe this is going to be a leading indicator of what happens over on KNC USD. So at this moment in time, KNC USD is barely hanging in there. You can see that we are kind of like pushing to the downside, or we're kind of just lollygagging into the side of this uptrending level of support. And if we do break down from this, it can be very nasty. I mean, forget this price target down here for a second. Even if we break down and come back down and sweep the lows, we'd be coming down to about $1.10, $1.12. That'd be about a 44% drop from where we are now. I have my eyes down here at 69 cent. I think this is where KNC is going to come down to. This is basically the macro lows all the way down here from 2020. And you might be wondering or arguing, why would we come back all the way down to the lows of 2020? Well, why did we come back down to the lows in 2021, in June 2021? Because that is what we did quite recently. We've wiped out, more than a year's worth of gains over on KNC. And in the short term, there is only going to be so long that we can lollygag in this pattern. I think we are going to have, a break out of this very soon. The apex of this triangle would be coming into the 6th of June, so we've got about another 4 days. We've got about another 4 days to make a big move. What is the dollar saying? Is the dollar starting to turn up? The dollar is holding... Big rejection on the daily, moving down. That is good for the altcoins and the crypto market cap. 4-hourly time frame was still holding the EMA ribbon, so the dollar is both, but it's very micro bearish, but macro, we're still above these big levels of resistance. So the dollar is very bullish. Don't count it out until it's done. And also the Bitcoin dominance is moving up very strongly. So while the Bitcoin dominance is moving up, expect Bitcoin to outperform altcoins, and that's what we're seeing on KNC BTC, which I'm going to jump into in a second because I think this is going to be the leading indicator telling us what we're about to do over on KNC. Now, you can see we are in a huge bear flag at this moment in time. If I draw this back, you can see we're in a pretty, it's a bearish pennant. It's a pretty ugly one, granted, but nonetheless, it's still 100% valid. And if we do break down from this, it is going to be very nasty. Let's see how we react to this. But like I said, we just got rejected from the 13 EMA. It is not a good sign when you get rejected from the 13 EMA. I mean, the last time we crossed the 13 EMA, let me show you. We crossed it bullish over at $1.50. We rode the 13 EMA all the way up, and then we had a macro cross of it at around $4.90. Since then, we got carried all the way down to $2. Since our next flip, we actually came all the way down to $1.10. We tried to flip it, we came back and back tested it and broke down, moved down to lower prices. And quite recently, yesterday, we broke into it, got rejected, and now we moved down. So I think the breakdown is much more likely. From a Fibonacci perspective, I imagine we're at least holding the 618 still. Yeah, we are. We're sitting on the 0.5 right now, so we're about to have a big move coming. This 0.5 Fibonacci is literally sitting on the cusp of a breakdown as well. You can see if I mark that 4x, you can't even see the price anymore. That is because we are literally sitting at a major decision point. If we do move down to the 618 at $1.77, we're going to break out this pattern and we're probably going to fall all the way down. Like I said, we've already wicked down here before, so I think the next target would be coming down to 68 cents. While I'm saying this, bear in mind we are getting rejected from the top of this structure much more than the bottom. We're getting rejected from the 13 EMA, we're getting rejected from the daily EMA ribbons, we are getting rejected, well, the 4-hourly EMA ribbons are pretty much useless when you're going sideways, but we are below the EMA ribbons at this moment in time. And looking at lower time frames, bears have already started to step in to reclaim the trend on our momentum indicator of choice, which is the squeeze mom. On the daily time frame, you can see we were in more of a macro bullish uptrend or micro bullish uptrend since we had this little bunny hill coming up into the EMA ribbons on the daily. And looking at our daily squeeze one, we had a tiny bullish flip, and now we're getting these dark green candles coming in, which, pairing this with the fact that we've just got rejected from the 13 EMA, pair that with the fact that you just got rejected from the top of this channel, and you just got rejected from both the 4-hourly EMAs and the daily EMAs. You know, this bearish crossover where we're running out of bullish momentum, pairing this with all of these rejections, it is going to make me think that we are going to move down to lower price targets. Now, the market cap of Kyber network is pretty low right now. It's sitting at around about 350 million. I know, like I say, yeah, that is pretty low, but we're talking about cryptos here. I mean, there's Dogecoins with higher market caps than this. So, rank 101, it is still pretty overvalued for what it is, in my opinion. Long-term chart, you can see we've wiped out pretty much all of the gains that we've ever had on this since its existence. So not really looking too good on KNC USD. That being said, the price target to hold is $1.98. Call it $2. If you start massively moving down, let's say you move down to $1.78 and then you move down lower from there, I would be calling a move all the way down to 69 cents, and that is what I'm currently calling for now. So KNC USD, I think unfortunately it's going to move down about another 65%. Bear in mind, I flipped bearish on KNC once we crossed the 4-hourly EMAs up here at $5. So it's not like I'm a perma bear on this. I circled this down here at $3.50, or it was $3.50, maybe somewhere around about here. This is when I got in on my last trade on KNC, and I rode it all the way up to $5. The EMA ribbons flipped bearish, and as we were saying when we were riding this trade up from $3.50 all the way up to $5, we were saying, look, the trend is your friend until the end. Until the 4-hourly EMAs flip bearish, then there's no reason to flip bearish. We flip bearish on the 4-hourly EMAs. So now I'm saying the opposite. Until we get above these EMAs, until we start backtesting them and moving up, until we start breaking out the top of this pattern, and at least until we start pushing into the daily EMAs and getting above this resistance box, then the trend is your friend until the end, and I would be expecting lower price targets. So this is not a target for tomorrow. This is not really even a target for this week. This is my macro target that I think KNC is going to move down to, and this is 69 cents. A pretty harsh drop from where we are right now. Like I said, I'm using KNC BTC as a leading indicator of what KNC is likely to do, and it's not looking good. I mean, you've got this nasty M pattern right here. You can see, bada bing, bada boom. If we come down below this level, then we're probably going to come all the way down to our next level of support, and this is a pretty hefty drop from where we are right now. This could be about another 54% drop against BTC, which would be pretty brutal. I mean, look at this. KNC against Bitcoin, it went on this massive rally in the bull market, had its blow off top, came all the way down to your 786, came back up to the 0.5 Fibonacci. You had a rejection from the 0.5, that was a warning signal. We broke down, broke up into the 618 Fibonacci, and then we moved down, and now we're probably coming down to break below the 786, back test it, and then move down to some lower prices. So unfortunately, KNC against the USD and BTC are both bearish. I think I'm going to use KNC BTC as the leading indicator of what's likely to happen with KNC. So if we see Bitcoin pump about 5% and we don't see KNC move at all, or on the flip side, let's say Bitcoin drops 5% and KNC drops 10%, meaning that KNC BTC would go down 5%, then we could be landsliding below the USD pair and getting ready for about another 50% drop to the downside after you take out that level. What would that mean for KNC USD? Well, a 65% drop against the US dollar would be very likely. I mean, think about it. If we move down 53% against Bitcoin, Bitcoin Bitcoin moves down about 12%, KNC gets slaughtered about 65%. It's got a pretty brutal setup right now. I wouldn't be surprised. So, like I said, you know my price targets. Macro term, I think KNC is coming down to 69 cent. KNC BTC, definitely keep an eye on this if you're planning on trading KNC. I don't think there's much point in trading altcoins until the altcoin BTC pairs turn around, because otherwise you're basically throwing away money. You're taking on a ton of extra risk if you are trading altcoins, and there's not any point in trading altcoins when the altcoins are not outperforming Bitcoin. It doesn't make any sense. I'd much rather buy a trend reversal after we go into the next bullish trend. Like, for example, you know, we had a huge bearish trend here. If you simply waited until, you know, a week or so coming into this bullish trend, you could have been like, okay, we're flipping bullish now. And then you could have rode it all the way up until we flip bearish here. It's all about getting in for these trend reversals. That is what my channel's about. No one's going to buy the exact bottom. I'm not trying to buy the exact bottom. I'm trying to buy the moment we have a trend reversal. And at this moment in time, the trend is your friend until the end. Bitcoin dominance is continuing to move up. While Bitcoin dominance is moving up, expect Bitcoin to outperform the altcoins. And that is the same for KNC. This is why we're seeing KNC BTC going on such a big landslide right now. I won't be extrapolating the price target of the bear flag rather. It would probably be in the minuses, but nonetheless a push all the way back down to these lows. If we come over to the weekly, you can see this uptrending level of support. It would not be too outlandish to say we'd be coming back to these. We'd still be making a higher low, and for something that came out, you know, well, 2018 or so, for this to hold up its lows against Bitcoin after all this time would still be impressive. So bear in mind as well, if you are trading KNC, it has not outperformed Bitcoin since April of 2020, and if we draw a line of best fit, you can really see that this has not been outperforming Bitcoin whatsoever. So in my opinion, it wouldn't be an altcoin that I'd be looking to get in for the long term. I like to get into altcoins that I believe have massive potential to outgrow Bitcoin. When you look at something like KNC and you already see that it's at 350 million, and you see that the highs are getting lower and lower and lower, it kind of just shows me that its days of outperforming Bitcoin are done. And sure, we can do it in the short term like we did here, but you zoom out and you'll realize that is just another lower high in the scheme of things. So be very careful. I'm expecting lower price targets for KNC. Best of luck if you're planning on getting in anyway. I plan on potentially re-looking at my outlook on KNC once we come down to 69 cent. That's all I've got for you today. As always, not financial advice. Cowboy out. Peace.